This is a helpcast for worksheet 3.3 from Unit 3 as requested by Kalia. So let's take a look at a problem. On our first problems, what we're asked to do is find the constant of variation and the slope. And the thing is that the constant of variation is the slope. So all you need to do here is if you find the slope by going up 4 and over 1, it's 4 over 1 or just 4, and also the constant of variation is 4. The reason it's got a constant of variation is because it goes directly through the origin. So again, today we learned a little bit about slope-intercept form. We actually started to see that the slope was in the equation as well. So look at problem number 6. It goes through the origin. It's a direct variation equation. So therefore, it has a slope of, well, hold on just a minute. Let's look back at what we learned. I don't feel like counting. I could just look at the equation and say, hey, the slope is negative 12. If you don't understand that, go ahead and count down, and we go down 12 and over 1, down 12 over 1, and that is 12, negative. Also, the direct variation is negative 12. The constant of variation, sorry, trying to go too fast here. I think the most confusing thing is that they're the same thing. So it seems like you're looking for two different things, but you're not. They're both the same. Let's move on to some more difficult problems. Let me shrink that down a little bit and maybe move it a little. So if y varies directly as x, write a direct variation equation that relates x and y. So y equals kx is a direct variation equation. So what I do is I do slope, because it's the same thing. And a lot of people have figured out different ways to do it, and that, by the way, is the whole idea. That there's lots and lots of different ways to do this. But if I do the slope, I have to think of 2 points. Well, they give me one here. It tells me that x is 10 and y is 6. So ordered pair, x comes first, then y. And another one, since it's a direct variation equation, would be 0, 0. So I could do 10 minus, oops, I did that wrong. Hold on. Been a while, I haven't been teaching. Oops. Pause. As I was saying, 6 minus 0 over 10 minus 0, which is 6 over 10. That's not in simplest terms. 2 goes into both of those, so that's 3 over 5. So my constant of variation is y equals 3/5 times x, or just y is 3/5 x. Okay, now I'm supposed to figure it out, find out what x is, when y is 18. So I have to put 18 in for y. So I'll put an 18 equals 3/5 of x. Now to solve this equation, I've got to get x by itself, so I'll divide by 3/5. And remember, you're going to do KFC, so I'll do times 5/3. Make 18 into a fraction. I'll look diagonally. 3 goes into 3 once, it goes into 18 6 times. And then I'll multiply straight across. 5 times 6 is 30. 1 times 1 is 1. It's 30. Let's look at one more. So this one's got fractions in it, so everybody's going to be scared of it, but don't be. It's really easy. So I'll make the ordered pair. It'll be 3/4 and 4 1/4. The other one will be 0, 0. So I'll take 4 1/4 minus 0 over 3/4 minus 0. That means that my constant of variation is going to be 4 1/4 divided by 3/4. Dropping back to 7th grade or 6th grade or 5th grade math, we'll take 4 1/4 divided by 3/4. I'll have to change this to an improper. 4 times 4 is 16 plus 1 is 17/4. And then I'm going to do KFC, keep flip change. I'll do times 4/3. This is easy because I've got some cancellations I can do. The 4's cancel. So I get 17 over 3, and that's my constant of variation. Alright, and I'm supposed to find it when x is 4 1/2. So let's write the equation. It'll be y equals 17/3 x. And I'm supposed to find it when x is 4 1/2. So I'll do y equals 17/3 times 4 1/2. Of course, I'll have to change 4 1/2 into an improper now. So I'll take and multiply the bottom. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. 17/3 times 9 halves. Look for cancellations. 1. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 17 times 3 is 30 plus 21. That's 51 over 2. 51 halves. And that's the answer to my question. By the way, you could have done this as decimals. So if I did this, instead of 4 1/4 divided by 3/4, it could have been 4.25 divided by 0.75, which I think is harder, but of course you have a calculator. So, if you wanted to do it that way, you'll end up with the decimal equivalents of 17/3, which ends up being, let's see, 17/3 is 5 2/3, which equals 5.6 repeating, and that just gets sloppy as can be. So you'll end up with the same answer. By the way, if you did it with the decimal, take 51 divided by 2, you'll get 25.5 as your answer to the other part.